introduce yourself to anyone who's listening and what your music is about and what you do?
Sure. My name is Brian, but my alias is Light. And my band project is Delta S. And it's a project that is very story-driven. So I'm a little different in that I mix a lot of different genres. It's not crazy all over the place, but it comes from kind of roots of industrial music, but there's also some dubstep, some EDM influences, and even orchestral influences. And it's all in the spirit of telling dark fantasy themed stories. So the spirit of my albums are very linear. Like if you were to listen to track 1 through the end, all the songs fade into each other, so it tells one big long song. And so the culture that I've been after, even before the online musician, was to find fans and actually people in need of a story to really resonate, not just music to like listen to in the car, but something really immersive, something that was inspiring. Like you went in and watched some really cool Lord of the Rings film or a Star Wars film, and you came out feeling really edified and encouraged. And that's really what I aim to do with my music. And sometimes musically that means I have to borrow from different genres, especially since as a story, there's going to be really angry sections, very sad stuff, there's very light. And so my philosophy with music is that you need to be able to hijack different genres as needed to kind of tell those stories. A death metal song can be great for anger, and nice folk song for something reflective. And the challenge in my work is to try to weave a golden thread in that. So it's not just like, hey, death metal song, folk song, trance song. So I have my work cut out for me, but I think I've pulled it off pretty well. And I'm a believer too. So my stories are meant to, they're not, I don't know, I would say in the same way that Tolkien was a Christian, but a lot of who he was reflected in his work. That's a lot how I think about my music too. So I just aim to be who I am, right? And that comes through in my music.
I love that. I can't tell you how much I love that. Everything that you just said there and how you're going for this whole immersive experience. I mean, that is really, I think, the next level here when we talk about, how can we provide an experience for people that, it's representing you as an artist, but it's also something so engaging that people can kind of just dig their heels into and bite into. It's meaty, it's not, there's nothing really just like, instant gratification about it. It's something where they're going to go in and they're going to have an experience. Like you go to a movie theater and you watch a whole movie and then you come out, I love that idea.
Like it doesn't work if you just watch a scene of a movie, but I think today's kids and young adults even have gotten to where music is just so like popcorn, and you can even listen to just the chorus of a song and move on. And there's almost too much music out there. And so as a musician, I think that's where the online musician comes in, because when you're trying to make a name for yourself, even if you have a specific genre, there's just too much music of every genre.
So what has been the thing you've learned about standing out then, since there's so much music out there?
I think I doubled down on who I was as a storyteller, which is kind of sounds like a non-intuitive way to approach it. I see a counselor every week, and when I started the course, I got really excited, and I was telling him about it. And he was really both shocked and impressed that the online musician had forms that you print out, and you're like literally writing things down, because in his experience as a counselor, like that exercise is different than even being online. Like you're really forced to have to wrestle with who you are. The idea that I really got right away is that you only know what to do if you know who you are. But in order to find my niche, it was about doubling down on that story aspect of the music. And I'm very influenced by science fiction and dark fantasy. So I really thought, wow, what if I really double down on that and sort of make the music something that's flowing out of that, rather than it being like, hey, I make industrial music or I make trance. Oh, and by the way, I do stories. But rather to introduce myself as, hey, I'm a great storyteller. I've got some exciting epic tales for you. Hey, I just happen to do industrial music and trance and dubstep along the way. And that actually makes people a lot more curious. Like, whoa, really? There's a story you got for me and you're going to tell it with these genres? Okay, I'm in. And I think that approach has actually made it work even in the Facebook ads, combining the style along with that dark fantasy theme and the story-driven themes and stuff like that.
I'm so excited for you right now. Like, all I can see is just like, oh my goodness. Like, if people could understand what you've done with that, even me, I bet I can learn from you in that respect. I also, I mean, I'm not a storyteller in the way that you are, but I definitely get my themes and stuff from a lot of media and story, and just I go off of more themes than a specific storyline in my music. But I love how what you're doing is, it's almost like a real, audio book, if you know what I mean, or
it's
like
totally like that.
Right.
It's kind of like it's like listening to a movie, if that makes sense.
Totally.
It's kind of weird, and I'm talking about doubling down. I'm even going. I feel like a crazy person, but the next album I'm doing, I'm literally hiring people to do the speaking parts in between the tracks. I'm trying to push it even more so that it will sound like an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, but with electronic metal dubstep sounds.
No, honestly, no, that is seriously genius. I love it. It's really, really good idea. There's so much you can do with that too. I mean, I just start seeing all the possibilities, and and yet your culture, it's like dark
fantasy. I'm finding them, yeah.
And sci-fi and all that. Like, you can build such a cool community around that, where your music just becomes part of the community, and it just slips right in there so nicely. And oh my goodness, it's so awesome. So tell me a little bit about, what's been the biggest breakthrough you've gotten in online musician for yourself?
Online musician
goal, yeah.
The success got really exciting once the advertising, the Facebook ads came into play, because I've gotten to the point where the ads pay for themselves, because I have enough CD sales coming from those likes coming in. And of course it's there'll be a dearth of nothing happening, and all of a sudden over the weekend be bam, bam, bam.
Of course.
You get a bunch of sales. So I would say the exciting thing is that the advertising is paying for itself using the principles. So it's kind of a no-brainer to just keep that drip system on of constantly. Once you've honed it in, of course, we wouldn't tell anyone to just turn it on and see what happens and just do that all day long. I've been doing it for 7 months now, and I still haven't had to really pay for the advertising. So I do, just doing $30 a month even at times, but still I'm getting enough income just to cover that, and sometimes more.
Yeah, no, that is brilliant. That is really, and that's how you do it. That's marketing online, is being able to make back what you put into it. Really, I don't think you even realize what a big accomplishment that is. Like, I
feel like it. I think I do, though, because when I was on the forum that we have, the group, I struggled in the beginning, and I feel like I kind of lucked out in that. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I have already done a lot of personal work in my life, so I kind of know. I was ready to I knew who I was, but I didn't have the tools of like, how do I tell that story? Even so, I was looking at other people struggling, and I'm like, I think I discovered something that's not supposed to happen so fast.
No, it has everything to do with the identity. It has everything to do with you. The fact that you're going the distance to find out exactly who you are and what that sounds like through your music, and you've started honing in on that culture, that has everything to do with it. And the people who are struggling are honestly people who, they haven't narrowed down really what do they make, and they haven't narrowed down what does my music represent and why should people listen to it. They haven't figured that out yet. And you have figured that out, and that is seriously the difference. And all those people struggling, they can come, they can do what you've done, but it's going to be, you figured out quicker, but some people it's a longer route to get there. And even myself, it took me 2 years before I realized exactly what my niche was. That was the long way. And that was really from experimenting a ton and listening to my fans and letting them tell me what my music was. As an artist, we don't like boxing ourselves in. We hate boxes.
Correct.
We hate labels. Like, get us away from it. But if we want to be profitable and actually keep, make enough to keep making music, we've got to help identify all of that.
Absolutely. Because when you know who you are, you know where you're flexible and where you're not. So if I take my band as an example, if I'm really about dark fantasy themed stories, if that's the root, maybe I will be flexible. Maybe that genre needs to change. I might be open to that to reach the right fans, because if I'm really after one thing and not trying to spread out myself so thin with I do this and that and this and all these things, make that the common denominator, a story. Then that's where the fans can collaborate with me and tell me a little bit of what they're looking for.
Totally.
But I'm still consistent with who I am, right?
Exactly. Well, there's consistency. Like, we're always going to make, I don't believe in compromising the art at all, but you brought in another element about collaborating with fans, and that's a whole new layer that a lot of musicians aren't doing yet, which is, asking them, getting that feedback from them, and then kind of just shifting, just a little bit, slightly. And it kind of, it was like when my fans started telling me, oh, it's Celtic metal. They told me that name, I didn't come up with that. They told me, I said, oh yeah, I guess that is maybe in there a bit. So I just kind of shifted my focus just ever so slightly. It's like an extra flutes or something in the song that weren't there before. And, then you're opening up a whole new market there just because you're listening, allowing them to kind of have a little bit of input. And you can go a whole nother layer with, things like Patreon and things like that, where they actually are.
The thing you saw that I'm experimenting with, I'm kind of
right.
It's working. I'm a little scared of it, but that's new territory.
What? And when you start digging your teeth into Superfan system, that's going to go up to a whole nother level. Like
that, and that's actually why I thought of joining that's a big reason why I'm excited about the VIP coaching thing. Is I thought if we could just focus on one thing, I'm really trying to go all in with that for some bigger projects. So I thought, as the weeks come, you can help me figure out how to create a plan that maybe drives to that page as an option. I don't know, but
yeah, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely dig into that. I have some really good ideas. Can you describe to people what it feels like to gain a new superfan, where they actually, where the work you put into your system, they actually went in there, they liked your page, and then they bought your music? All the plan that you put in place? Like, what does that feel like?
I think most musicians would agree that you find that when you find the one super fan, it changes you, where you feel like everything that you did matters because you touched just at least one person. So for me, when I get even a crazy message from a super fan, I love your music so much and I have to buy it and I want to talk to you 24/7. It's more than endearing. It's really powerful experience because it says, wow, I'm relevant, and the Lord is actually using this to accomplish something where I'm actually touching someone's life. And I have no idea what that will mean until the end, but that who knows if we're saving people from suicide, or if we're helping them get a job, or a girlfriend, or to help them break up with an unhealthy relationship. We don't know all those things, but when someone is a fan and they're bought into music, it's just this wonderful feeling that really like working with the fan, and you're sharing a moment, you're touching their life, and they certainly touch mine.
Wow. Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. I get these messages. I've had people telling me that they were with your really dark time, or that they had suicidal thoughts, and that, a song of mine or album of mine carried them through that time. And you're just like blown away, right? Like
that's really humbling. It's like, what?
And that's why I do what I do, helping musicians do this, because my whole belief is that music is not meant to be kept to ourselves. Yep. We got to do it because it's in our blood to do it, but it's actually not meant for us. It's meant for other people. It's meant for the world. It's meant to have an effect.
Totally. We have to be a good steward of it.
Absolutely. And, God's going to do with it what he wants to do with it. And that's his prerogative, but we're to just make that art and put it out. And
yeah, I'm totally in agreement. Here's another random thing. So my wife and I, before I even knew that you were on it, signed up for the Apologia Radio, and I think you have a class on there. And you're kind of speaking to some things things on there about being excellent, there's a call to be excellent, not a knockoff, right? And not trying to do cheesy ways of like reaching people for Christ. It's about being excellent as a musician too. That's part of what being a true believer. You know?
Well, and that's why too, in the On the Musician, I feel like we can't even talk about marketing until we get over the whole quality music part of it. Yep. Like, let's address the quality music part, right? I mean, you can't do anything without that. So,
yes.
So identify your music, make it excellent, and then identify what is your music about. That's your culture. And then we can identify your audience.
I love the order of that. And that's actually, I love the order. And I think that's what makes the online musicians stand out, is that it's coming from the inside out, not the outside in. It's working on the identity, and then it's, you know, if you heard of that, the principle of the golden circle, that it's like if you know the who you are, then the why, and then the how, you know, and to work your way out. And I think that everyone can benefit from that in the course.
That's so brilliant. Wow. That is just absolutely insightful. I love everything that you've just been, saying. I just think it's going to encourage so many people.
I hope so.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Is there any specific results that you would like to share? Like, some people are like, well, what did you do? Like, how can you encourage people by, maybe it was an increase of likes on your page or emails or something like that?
Sure. The thing that has really helped me, since I have ADHD and I can get like really pulled in all kinds of different directions, especially as a musician. So I went and invested in the Meet Edgar, the app, the Meet Edgar app, and that's helped me a lot so that I can really like hyper focus for a time and get those posts and engagement going. And so, because sometimes I can go off the grid with ADHD and I am not very diligent. And so it's really nice to just, like the Meet Edgar app is, even at times, if it's been through 3 months and it's cycling through again, it's reaching fans that haven't seen the post the first time around, so that it keeps the engagement going. And so and then that encourages me, because I'm seeing the fan engagement all the time, and that in turn, gets me excited to keep doing what I'm doing. So that was a huge, for other people that might have ADHD, or other people that are feeling like their attention's divided. I think I want them to know that it's worth investing the time and the money to set up some of those kind of things so that the work can be happening behind the scenes.
That's awesome. So tools that are helping you become efficient, so you're not having to put hours into social media every day. So it's kind of like you can, and there's different tools out there,
of course. Yeah.
And they're improving all the time. And I will always recommend like the latest and best thing that I can possibly find that's even working for me.
Yep.
And that was one of those tools, that it was like, there's no need to spend hours and hours on social media every day. Right. So what I would do is every Sunday once a month or every 6 weeks, I would spend one afternoon, find a bunch of content that fits my culture, and then load it up.
Oh yeah.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Then you can, it's kind of set it and forget it, but of course you want to be checking in and, addressing those fans and stuff like that, and popping in there and showing your face. But I've got some really cool engagement stuff to be sharing with you guys in Superfan System.
Yay!
I'm so excited.
That's great.
Yeah, so awesome. Hey, last question here. I don't want to keep you. Where can people find out more about your music? Where can they hear your stuff?
I think my music's all over, so I have a philosophy of having my music available as many platforms. So you can find me on Spotify, you can find me on iTunes. Again, I have patreon.com/deltas for people that are interested in partnering me with the project itself. And my website is thedeltasproject.com. And that's to find more about me. So
perfect. That's awesome. Wow. I'm blown away by what you've done with it. There's something so powerful about people who, it's one thing to take in information. It's another thing to execute on the information, and you're one of these awesome people who have actually taken it and you've done the work and you're seeing it. That's what happens. And I just really want to commend you. I'm really proud of you. And I can't wait to I want to 10X what you've already done. Like, we're going to make it happen this year. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Excited. It's going to be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. I really appreciate you coming on. It was wonderful to see you face to face as well.
Yay, thanks. You too, Leah.
Okay. All
Have a
right.
good
Well,
day.
take care. Bye.
Bye.